Hey guys, it's Friday again. I already posted a video earlier this day showing you my special lineup for this week. I feel pretty confident about it. I'll use it a lot. It will be a great lineup, and I hope it will win big for me this week. And hopefully, if you copy some of it, for you too. So now I'm just going to show you some players I like this week to finish off your lineups if you don't want to use a whole lineup or need some more players to finish up and already have your core together. Okay, so of course the top three quarterbacks, no question. I don't really like Cam Newton or Drew Brees. I'm just gonna fade them both. They will be really high owned, and I don't think the game will be as a shootout as everybody expects from it. Carolina has to win. The defense will step up, I think, and I think it will be a not low scoring game, but not too high, and I think it will be a lot of run game, and yeah, I don't know. I don't really like those two quarterbacks this week. Who I like is Tom Brady, Big Ben, of course, two consistent players with a lot of weapons. I really like those two. I also like um, you see Derek Carr. The weather will be an issue, I think. So if you get good reports on it, he's good to go against Kansas, who really isn't that great of a defense. They sometimes have huge games out of nothing, but usually if you pick on Kansas, it works pretty good. So see what the weather says. If it's gonna be rainy, I wouldn't pick Carr, but since the run game is so weak, he has to throw either way. So he's a good he's a good cash quarterback, for example. Other guy I like will be Matthew Stafford. LA defense is not too great. The run game just got knocked out. Washington will be super banged up. Theoretic is out, so he will have to throw a lot. Since they don't like Zenner that much, I don't know. I don't really know why. He looked pretty good, but they don't really like him, so they will throw a lot. Add some value to Matthew Stafford. Um, Other than that, I don't really like the rest. Alex Smith, of course, going against Oakland. I don't like Smith. People will play him. You can put him in some of your cash lineups, I think, just because the matchup's too good at this price, and he will have 20 points at least, or should have around 20 points. But Alex Smith is always good for a 12-point game out of nothing. No one would really expect. So I'm gonna fade him. I also fade Brian Hoyer. He will be a highly owned cash play. But the Jacksonville Jaguars defense is better than everybody says it is. It only allowed 200 yards per game this season, and I just they're super bad against the run, so they're gonna use Jordan Howard a lot. For running back, of course, Le'Veon Bell, DeMarco Murray, really safe plays, super high floor. Nothing you can do wrong with him, really. I expect Bell to have a great game, but I don't know if Murray will score that much lower. I mean, the upside is higher for Bell, but Murray has a great matchup against Cleveland, who are really bad against the run. So I see Murray having a very good game too. LaShawn McCoy, of course, he won't catch that many balls, but he'll see 20 to 26 touches this week. He will go against Chip Kelly, so he will have special will to go to the end zone and to really punch it in there. So he won't sub out like last time to get the fullback get some touchdowns in. So he will be a good play, 20 points or above, I think. Christian Michael, the weather situation in Atlanta, in Seattle, looks pretty bad, so they will probably run a lot too. I don't like him too much. He doesn't really catch passes that often, but still a good. He's a decent pick. It's at 6,800. I have better players though. Lamar Miller, way way better, in my opinion, than Christian Michael. Go against Indianapolis, at home. Indianapolis is super bad run defense. He only has 12.5 points average because he hasn't scored yet. That will change this week, and we'll get him a lot of points for sure. Jordan Howard as well, very good guy. As I said, Chicago will run a lot, so I see him make up a lot of points. A guy a lot of people will probably fade this week is Devontae Freeman though. No one really thinks Seattle will allow the Atlanta Falcons to go off and really score. But I think if any position could hurt against Seattle, it will be the running backs. If you look at Seattle, they're only ranked seventh against they're seventh against the run. So it looks pretty good on the paper. But if you look at the matchups they had, it was the New York Jets, San Francisco, LA, and Miami. So Todd Gurley did pretty bad. San Francisco crushed him with the run. I think he got 28 points on that one. New York Jets, I don't like Matt Forte too much, so I don't really think they have a good run offense. In Miami, I think that was the game Arian Foster got hurt on, so they haven't had like a really good passing backs against them as Freeman is, and together with Tevin Coleman, he will rank the defense up, I think, and they will have everything on Julio Jones, one-on-one matchup with some safeties on him. So I think there's a lot of space for Freeman and Coleman, but Freeman is my favorite pick because he will see some more of the run touches, and if the weather is as bad as expected, he will get a lot of work done. Okay. So the last guy I'm going to talk about is, I already mentioned Giovanni Bernard in my first video, so check that one out. He's a very good play this week too. But the other one will be James White. Again, the Patriots have a lot of weapons, so you never really know where the ball will go to and who will score the most. I just think James White could have had a very good game against Cleveland last week. He dropped 2 balls on huge plays. One had three guys to block in front of him. He just dropped it. That would have been a huge play. I mean, 30 yards at least, and that would have kicked him up, and 1 touchdown and he's in, and for 4,100, that's perfect play right there this week. Feel very good about him. Okay, at wide receiver, of course, look at the top guys, of course. Antonio Brown, talked about him in my video. There's just nothing. No one can stop him. He has a safe floor of 20, so if you can spend up for him with running guys like James White, he's a perfect pick. I don't like any of the guys up here. I don't even like Calvin Benjamin. New Orleans hasn't been that bad against the first receiver, so I will fade all of the above. Maybe Allen Robinson. I'll play some Allen Robinson. Not too much though. He's seen some red zone targets, but he just hasn't really convinced me. Like the preseason looked just awesome. He just look like he's out of this league, but since the season really started, he doesn't really he didn't have any really great games since then. Amari Cooper, same thing. He just broke out, but the weather situation is always something you have to consider. And if the weather is bad, they won't throw as much, and he won't see as many targets. But if the weather situation clears up and he's gonna be playing in sun or even just a little rain, I'll think he'll be a great pick this week. I think the best of the above, except for Antonio Brown, and at 7,500, he's a good first receiver this week. Okay, other plays. Of course, Julian Edelman. He's just, you should play him. He saw 10 targets last week. He could have seen a lot more if New England would have been really going for it. Like, they just kind of stopped at the third quarter and just went slow. He hasn't seen the end zone, and I think he has a high potential at the point per reception. He's just great play this week. 6,800. He's a little expensive for that. You don't really know who's going to catch the ball at the offense of the New England Patriots, but I still think he's a great play. I like him better than Jarvis Landry, since Pittsburgh isn't that bad against the first receiver. I don't like Doug Baldwin this week, since I don't really like Russell Wilson. A lot of players will tell you to play him, but I'll probably fade him this week. Willie Snead could be a good play, but as I said, I think Carolina defense will step up and not shut them down, but limit them to 2 or 3 touchdowns. And I don't know if Willie Snead will be the receiver of all of them. Other than that, Will Fuller, he's kind of the chalky, sneaky play, so a lot of people tell you to play him because he's a sneaky play no one will have, since he was so high owned last week and scored so little points. I think he'll be very high owned this week again. He'll be worth it, but if you want to look out for a sneaky play that no one really has, I don't think Will Fuller is the right guy. Okay, so as you see, Steve Smith Sr. doubtful, Mike Wallace questionable, which will lead me to a guy I really like for 3,000. Rashad Perriman, talked about him on my first video. I mean, there's no better value to find this week. 3,000. He could really see some deep threats, balls, and catch 1 or 2 touchdowns and 6 targets, 7 targets. That's all you want from a $3,000 guy. Okay, last wide receiver. I don't like Cameron Meredith. He will be super high owned this week. Everybody's talking about the consistency of Brian Hoyer, and you have to play the Chicago offensive guys, and Meredith is the guy to go to. Everybody will spend up on running backs and will be on the cheap receiver side, so he'll be 30% owned, at least 30% owned. I like, as I said, Perriman and, for example, Anquan Bolden way better in the cheap price range. Tight end Eric Ebron and running back Theo Riddick will be out this week, so Bolden will be the one to go to on short passes. As we saw last week, short passes got them 2 touchdowns. If Bolden even will only get 1 of them, he will see a lot of targets on top, so he can really have a great week without getting that many yards just by receiving a lot, seeing a lot of targets, and getting into the end zone. I would even consider play Eddie Royal, just because everybody will be on Meredith, and Royal would be kind of the sneaky play this week. I won't be highly on him, but maybe 2 or 3 in there to kind of get the sneaky pick on. And a guy I really don't like this week is Sammy Coates. Talked about it in my first video too. I don't think he will score more than 60 yards and no touchdown, and he'll drop some more passes with his inner hand, and I don't like him. I don't like seeing him play. He had a great game last week. I think that's it. I think maybe someone like Hayward Bay will step in and make the points this week. For tight end, we have, of course, Greg Olsen. Don't like him too much. He will be, either him or Kevin Benjamin will be on 60% of the lineups this week. I just don't think it's worth it. I mean, there's Gronkowski, $300 cheaper. Way better play in my opinion. Carolina, they have a lot of Ted Ginn Jr. even. You could maybe play Ted Ginn Jr. for 3,900 as a deep threat, and I think that's how they're gonna play it. Just throw it up there against the super bad New Orleans defense. I don't think Olsen will be the one to really see a lot of balls though. Travis Kelce, it's again in Oakland. You have to watch the weather. Not really too sure about that one. Other than that, he looks pretty good. Jimmy Graham, best matchup on the paper. Together with Delaney Walker, super high owned this week, probably those two. I'm just gonna spend up on Gronkowski or go down all the way to Zach Ertz this week. No one will be on him, no one. If they go down, they probably go down to Kobe Fleener, which is a super bad choice. You should never play Kobe Fleener. He just looks like he doesn't want to play the game at all. He's no fun in the game, and I think he will even try to retire after this year, since he got such a huge contract. Zach Ertz didn't see the game everybody expected last week. He will this week, except for no one will expect him to have the game this week. At 4,000, he's a great pick. If you spend up on running backs and don't want the Meredith and other crap in there, you can pay down a tight end, and one of them is Zach Ertz. I really like. You could, for a sneaky pick, go down all the way down to, just gonna search for the game. You could go all the way down to Clay Harbor. I mean, Clay Harbor or Cole Wick. I like Cole Wick a little more. He saw one target the first 3 weeks they played. It's not too great though. Clay Harbor didn't see any targets at all. He's just one of those 3 guys who will have to take the role of Eric Ebron. I think it will be Clay Harbor or Cole Wick. More tendency towards Clay Harbor. You'll have to look up you'll have to look what the coaches say. Super sneaky play, 2,500, can't go cheaper, and it will be a starting tight end. They'll probably split some snaps. Still, it's LA, it's Matthew Stafford, so they could see a touchdown, and for 2,500, that's all you know. That's all you want. That's all you can ask for. And for the defense, of course, the Buffalo Bills. Most expensive defense. I think a lot of people will pay up for them this week, just because it's Kaepernick. He's super bad throwing the ball. gets so many interceptions. They didn't play him. They played Blaine Gabbert the whole time, so he can't really be that much improved. So I expect a poor game from the San Francisco offense, and the Buffalo Bills will be the one to take it and score the points. I don't like the Seahawks. I just think Atlanta's too good. I don't like the Steelers just because Miami, they had a poor game last week. They will throw a lot. That may be one upside of the Steelers defense, to see some interceptions, but I think Miami will keep the game actually not pretty close. So I think they won't give the Steelers defense a lot of chance to score some points. Titans very good against Cleveland. Every team going against Cleveland is a good defense. And Cleveland has 3 quarterbacks all injured. I think they will start Kessler. Not too sure, but I think he will start. So injured Kessler is like free 2 picks. Yeah, I mean, great matchup. Eagles as well. Don't like Washington too much. I think Jordan Reed is out. Nah, he's questionable. I think he won't play though. And it's a great matchup for Philly. And the last defense is gonna be the Falcons and the Panthers. You can pick either one. Both kind of risky plays, going against not too bad offense. But I'm just gonna put the Falcons in here. As you heard in this video, I don't really like Russell Wilson. I don't think he's a good player. If he's kind of injured still and doesn't want to run that much, he will throw and the Falcons will just pick him off, I think. Defense, Seattle will keep the game close. They won't have to throw too much, but I still think it's a great matchup for the Falcons and they could step up. They're actually not too bad. They scored 11 points twice in the last 3 weeks against pretty good offensive teams. So yeah, I think Falcons will have a great game. Okay, that was it. If you have any questions remaining, any player you want in a special price range, just hit me up and I will do my best to help you. Thank you guys, and